I'm here in my news feed, and last week Mark Lassie was proposing a sourcing practices project, and here's the hashtag, #purchase project. And we've had some conversation. Juan Ricardo's had something to say about it, and I've said, I think we should automate this. But what's a project anyway? Well, a project is an effort to create a unique product or service. In this case, the service would be revamping the purchasing process here at No Obstacles. Projects are bounded by time and resources and requirements, which is another way of saying they have clearly defined timelines, clearly defined budgets, and goals that are specific. And projects are different from the ongoing efforts of your organization. Often people who are first learning about project management are trying to find some way that they can say their job is a project. But most of what we do every day isn't a project unless you're a person who is always a member of a project team or you're a project manager. Most of us have ongoing work that happens every day, and no matter what the timeline is, that work will continue. Projects, on the other hand, have a starting point and a stopping point, even if they take decades. And there's always a time that you say, this project is done. Let's now evaluate it and go on to the next project. Project management, then, is managing those types of efforts. And project managers focus on 5 specific types of tasks: initiating, planning, executing, controlling, and closing their projects. And so project managers are really concerned with things like the tasks in a project, the timeline of a project, and the budget of a project. And you already know that you can track your tasks in Microsoft SharePoint and that you can develop timelines in SharePoint. As your team is working on a project, you also want a place that you can raise issues. And we've seen the issue log that you can create in Microsoft SharePoint. Additionally, project managers have to be concerned about risks from outside of the project. What happens, for example, if the environment in which you're working changes? So these are the types of lists that we would want to keep in SharePoint in order to use SharePoint for project management. If you're working in a large organization or an organization that manages many projects, then you are probably already using project management software, perhaps Microsoft Project Server. And if you're using Project Server and SharePoint, then those 2 servers can be configured so that each time a new project is created, a new SharePoint site is created. But even if you don't have Microsoft Project Server, even if you don't use Microsoft Project, you can use Microsoft SharePoint to create a special kind of site called a project site that will make it easier for you to manage your project. So let's quickly look at how we would create a project site to help Mark with his purchasing project. Mark's project isn't the only project that we'll be doing at No Obstacles this year. We have a number of projects that are already lined up. So we've created a projects site to host all of these individual project efforts. It's called Inside Projects, in the same way we have Inside No Obstacles and Inside Home. So here we are in the Inside Project site, which is a regular team site. And now let's create that special site for the purchasing project. I'm going to click Site Contents and choose New Subsite. This is the purchasing project. Now, purchasing is an entire area. They may have more than one purchasing project at any time. So this is the purchasing redesign project. That's what Mark told me. We're going to put the project description here that Mark would have given me. You can always put, Mark, your project description will go here. And we're going to call this, again, short names as best we can, purchasing redesign. And when we choose a template, this is what's different. We're going to choose a project site. Notice that it's made for managing and collaborating on projects. The site template brings together all of the information that we're going to want. I'm going to use the same permissions as the parent site for now. I'm going to use the top link bar from the parent site as we do throughout our site collection, and I'm going to click Create. Here's our new site. When I create a team site, SharePoint offers me the opportunity to include a timeline, but in a project site, I get one. It's right here. Here's my news feed. And here's my documents library. So the ability to immediately go in and edit a tasks list is an important part of working with this site. The ability to work with a timeline, the ability to work with a calendar, If I look at the contents of my project site, these are the core items: my documents library, my calendar, and my tasks list with a timeline. I can also add anything else I'd like to this site. One of the things I'm going to add almost automatically here is I'm going to add the issue log. So I click Add an App, and I choose Issue Tracking, because I like to be able to make sure that from the very start, rather than people emailing me or catching me in the hallway and saying, hey, I have an idea, or excuse me, but this needs some work, I can point them to this issues log and ask them to log their issues. So here's my project management site for purchasing redesign. Very similar to a team site, but with the addition of a couple of apps that make it very easy for me to manage my project. One more thought about project sites. This is a skeleton of a project site. If in your organization you have specific project management documents that are required, things like a template for updates in PowerPoint or specific budget documents, this is a great site to customize and then save as a template. If all of your projects require the same infrastructure, SharePoint gives you an easy way to provide it.